All right, hello everyone, and welcome. Welcome to this week's podcast. Got a good, fun show for you today. And generally speaking, हम लोगों को just before we're about to come online, generally late comments मिलते हैं. But today the audience outdid itself. About 10-15 minutes before we were about to come online, and I was setting up the show. Already live chat में late comments. Okay. Next week onwards, I expect you people to start typing late the moment, like almost at least 24 hours before. If you're not saying late at least 24 hours before, then what are you doing? But before we start today's show, guys, one of the things that I really wanted to...
The hate against me, the homophobic hate against me has already started. There's a creep called Takla Iyer, Tamil Nadu name पे घूम रहा है. इसको निकालो इस फोरम से.
ये किसी ने नाम क्रिएट किया है. Somebody went and created an entire account.
Only Mitali Marwaha is being sweet to me. Hi Mitali, you're the only one that's sweet to me on this forum.
Hi, Mitali,
everybody else is so mean and horrible to you. I'm appointing you honorary Iyer. So
I am the founder of Woko Haram.
अरे मैं इतना अच्छा बोल रहा था और तूने ये कर दिया मेरा. तू फिर से मिताली मरवाहा बन गई. तेरे लिए मरी हुई है. मैं तेरे को एक्नॉलेज ही नहीं करता हूँ.
तूने बहुत बड़ी गलती कर दी. Blew your load too early, man. That's the problem. Okay, so before we even get started, this is something that I think the whole nation needs to focus on, and I think somebody had made a very good point, and I want to share it with everyone. As the oxygen crisis worsens, it's a good time to remember how important trees, plants, and forests are. The very thing we destroy in the pursuit of development. This is a very important point that I think needs to be made, and we want to make sure that our audience understands this. All right. So if you ever go into the hospital for procedure, please thank the trees. If a doctor is helping you, don't thank the doctor. Please go outside and thank the trees. So let's get our priorities sorted. Thank you very much for that message, Pritish Nandi. We really appreciate you. I want
to thank Anmol Saxena for kissing my chamkila head, and Preetam Sarbavidya for lifting my morale up after this backstabbing by Mitali Marwaha. You are dead to me, Mitali Marwaha. I will never acknowledge you. And I want to point out
episode mein Mitali, we can fix it.
Even more than Pritish Nandi, viewers, I want to tell you about a scandal that happened here before we went live. People are dying. And what was Kushal Mehra worried about? His AC not working.
Mera AC nahi chal raha.
This is like his Marie Antoinette moment. Agar cooler nahi chal raha hai, to AC chalao.
This is amazing. Yeah. Some people in this COVID atmosphere, what to do? But speaking about this COVID atmosphere, speaking about this entire situation, we talked about a lot of these things last week as well, Kushal. And as far as we can see, a lot of the things that we talked about last week have sort of materialized over the last week as well, like the opening of the vaccination process to everyone 18 and above, the expansion of the, vaccines other than just Covishield and Covaxin as well. Bahar dusre vaccines bhi aa rahe hain. There's a ramp up in vaccine production. There's a ramp up in like oxygen production and all those things. So there's been some positive developments over the last week. How are you feeling about the situation, sort of like a week removed after all these announcements?
मेरी फीलिंग्स को मैं पहले स्टार्ट करता हूँ ये शेयर करके. ये देखो, ये मेरी फीलिंग्स हैं इस समय. ये लास्ट 30 डेज की आपकी फर्स्ट डोज की वैक्सीन शॉट्स हैं. ये देखो, यहाँ से 23 मार्च से मैं आपको ट्रेंड बता रहा हूँ. 20 लाख, 21, 23, फिर गिर के चलो वीकेंड पे 2 लाख होता है, उसको इग्नोर करो, बंद होता है. फिर वो बढ़ता है 38 तक जाता है, फिर गिरता है. एक दिन 41 जाता है. हम लोग बड़े जज्बाती हो गए थे. ये 41 कब गया था? 5th अप्रैल को, जब हमने 45 एंड अबव का क्राइटेरिया खोला था ना. This is when everybody was like, now you see man, now you see how many people are going to come out and get vaccinated man. Everybody is going to show your ass and their hands and they're like, poke me man. And then see what happens. It just all hell breaks loose.
Yep.
And look at this. We have come down to 13 lakh single dose. See, आपको लोग है ना बेवकूफ बना रहे हैं. रोज बोलते हैं ना आपको 30 लाख लोग वैक्सीन शॉट्स ले रहे हैं, 28 लाख लोग ले रहे हैं. वो फर्स्ट और सेकंड डोज मिला के. ये मैंने आपको बताया फर्स्ट डोज का डेटा एज ऑफ 21 अप्रैल यानी कि येस्टरडे. देखो 45 एंड अबव में शाम इन आवर कंट्री एलिजिबिलिटी क्राइटेरिया के हिसाब से देयर आर 45 करोड़ प्लस पीपल. एंड लुक व्हाट इज हैपनिंग नाउ ऑन द सेम पेज. इफ वी गो डाउन शाम बाय एज 40 to 60 के एज ग्रुप में 5 करोड़ 34 lakhs, 60 and above 4 करोड़ 90 lakhs. This is a joke. Now चलो अभी आप डोज 1 को भूल जाओ, मैं अभी डोज 2 दिखाता हूँ. देखो क्या हो रहा है. आपका नंबर मेंटेन कैसे हो रहा है. देखो डोज 2 घटती थी क्योंकि पहले कम थे, अब बढ़ते जा रही है, बढ़ते जा रही है, बढ़ते जा रही है. डोज 2 बढ़ रही है. अभी आपके जो नंबर्स मेंटेन हो रहे हैं ना शाम, it is basically because of dose 2 and not because of dose 1. Now let us come into the first subject, that is vaccinations. Now vaccination में जो हो रहा है, there has been, I think there has been a very pathetic debate as far as vaccination is concerned in India. So if we look at the last 4 to 5 months of discussion, पहले तो ऐसा था कि look at the criminal behavior of everybody in this country. The problem is, as Abhijit in our last discussion had said, India unfortunately does not punish you for crimes of omission, only for crimes of commission, right? So I mean, you had the chief minister of Chhattisgarh saying, I will not use the Covaxin vaccine.
Yes.
The chief minister of a state has made a statement, मैं वैक्सीन ही नहीं लूंगा, ये बीजेपी की वैक्सीन है. अखिलेश यादव ने बोला था. शशि थरूर ने बोला आई डू नॉट ट्रस्ट कोवैक्सीन. आप पूरा बावलेला खड़ा कर देते हो इस देश में. देन ऑन द अदर साइड देयर वाज अ अमेजिंग स्टडी डन on AstraZeneca on how Twitter created a mass hysteria against AstraZeneca, right? Yep. So that was at the global level. India में भी था मगर इतना नहीं था. This whole thing about AstraZeneca and blood clots. I'll give you a classic example of that as far as Germany is concerned. So Germany was saying that she loves me not. I will allow AstraZeneca, I will not. I will allow AstraZeneca, I will not. Now finally they have come down to I will allow AstraZeneca again. अभी पता नहीं है कितने दिन तक चलेगा जर्मनी का तमाशा. The point is, this is happening. Then suddenly you have, now I want to criticize the central government. तो जी हमारी सेंट्रल गवर्नमेंट को सब लोग एज यूजुअल जो हमारे सेंट्रल गवर्नमेंट को रोज पपियां झपियां देते हैं ट्विटर पे, वो लोग बोल रहे देखा सेंट्रल गवर्नमेंट ने सीरम इंस्टीट्यूट और भारत बायोटेक को क्रेडिट लाइन एक्सटेंड कर दी. भाई 2 महीने पहले क्यों नहीं की?
हाँ, yes. That's the point, right? That's the point कि यहाँ there's a big problem कि in anticipation कि भाई हर जगह पर आया है सेकेंड वेव. इंग्लैंड में आया अराउंड लास्ट ईयर अराउंड नवंबर दिसंबर में आया when they had to shut down all the stadiums again. US में अराउंड December-January में फिर से there was a huge problem. Everywhere you saw कि भाई यहाँ पर सेकेंड वेव आ रहा है, तो most likely the scenario was कि इंडिया में भी आएगा. तो हमको थोड़ा ये एंटिसिपेट करके रखना चाहिए था और ये हमने नहीं किया. And in that sense, I think there needs to be fingers pointed at the government very clearly. इसका ये मतलब नहीं कि government has screwed everything up, but this is a serious crime of omission.
Yes, so एक स्टेट गवर्नमेंट का मैं एग्जांपल देता हूँ शाम. दिल दुखता है इसके लिए बोल रहा हूँ क्योंकि मैं महाराष्ट्र से हूँ and I love Maharashtra. I'm born and raised here. Love Mumbai. और याद रखना IPL मुंबई जीतेगी. Everybody can shut up now. So the point is, Maharashtra built a big jumbo center in and around the Mahalakshmi racecourse area. तो उन्होंने है ना बहुत बड़ा जंबो सेंटर बनाया. अच्छा 600 बेड का जंबो सेंटर. एक शाम में गैस मारो उसमें कितने बेड यूज हुए होंगे जब वो बना था? गैस मार. और देख अभिजीत ने आंसर दिया. एक बहुत बड़ा अंडा, एक बेड नहीं यूज हुआ उसमें. तो एक बेड नहीं यूज हुआ क्योंकि वो कभी बना था शाम. एंड आई एम नॉट ब्लेमिंग द स्टेट गवर्नमेंट फॉर द फर्स्ट टाइम बिकॉज बाय द टाइम उन्होंने बनाया फर्स्ट वेव टेपर ऑफ हो गई. मगर द जीनियसेस शट इट डाउन. अभी वो है नहीं. अभी हम नया लैंड ले रहे हैं और हम फिर से जून तक बनाएंगे. ये हमारा देश है शाम. Every state government is culpable in this mass slaughter of human beings that is happening.
Yeah.
ये लोगों को कुछ करने को नहीं आया, इन्होंने तमाशा बना दिया. और अभी क्या फुटबॉल चालू है, वो देखो जी हरियाणा मेरी गाड़ी नहीं आने दे रहा है, वो देखो जी महाराष्ट्र ये कर रहा है, और हर जगह तमाशा कर दिया है. एंड यार आम आदमी क्या करेगा? वो सेंट्रल गवर्नमेंट को रोएगा, वो स्टेट गवर्नमेंट को रोएगा. मतलब करे तो क्या करे? मेरे को can somebody explain this to me? What was the path of an average Indian that he, she, it was born in this country, that if they go and complain to the state government, the state says center dega. They go to the center says state dega. अरे मैं पैदा क्यों हो गया इस देश में यार?
Yeah, this is a serious issue, and to Abhijit, you were saying this on Twitter the other day, and I think this really does ring true. And I want to talk about a couple more things, but let's just focus on this for a second, because you said on Twitter, and I thought it really resonated with me when you said कि यार ये जो गवर्नमेंट का एंटिसिपेशन का प्रॉब्लम है, इनको ये एंटिसिपेट करना चाहिए था, इन्होंने नहीं किया. नाउ दे आर रैम्पिंग एवरीथिंग अप, व्हिच इज अ गुड थिंग, एंड होपफुली विल बी एबल टू फ्लैटन द कर्व इन द नेक्स्ट 2 or 3 weeks. But still, the situation that has reached this point, it has happened because the government either didn't anticipate it, or even if they anticipated it, they never thought that the situation would become as serious as it is right now. But for that problem, ये जो crime of omission जिसकी हम बात कर रहे थे, who's going to really take the fall for it? Is there going to be any accountability on the government's part for it?
This is going to be. Do you remember there was that play that came out, किसी ने नहीं किया or something like that? Nobody did it.
Yeah.
Huh? It was. I think it was regarding the Jessica Lal murder or something like that. I forget.
Right.
But this is going to be like that. Now, why is it Nagpur and Pune were doing 50,000 shots a day, but Bombay is doing only 25,000 shots a day?
Yeah.
In December, the Bombay government announced, and mind you, this is after everybody says, oh, why aren't you giving the states power? Why weren't you giving the states power? The states were given that power after the third phase of lockdown. What was it? Unlock in September or October, they were given all the powers. In December, the Maharashtra government decided to shut down that jumbo center that this one is that Kushal is talking about.
Yeah.
They shut it down. Fair enough. Now, there are also crimes of commission involved out here. I'll tell you why. Because starting January 7th, the central government sent a notification, you're taking this too lightly, pull up your socks. They sent another one on the 21st of February, one more on the 25th of February, and one more on the 27th of February. All these governments ignored it. And what is worse, the central government also ignored it because they knew, given the oxygen problems before, they had come up with this scheme to set up these turnkey oxygen production units. They're kind of like the size of a container, 3 containers put together, and they cost about 20 crores each. You can just get them. They're quite easy. Within about 4 to 5 months, they would have been fabricated and sent over to you. They did not. Okay, and they had planned this in August 2020. They said they were going to budget for about 100 of these in tier 1 and tier 2 cities. And ultimately, it should have been rolled out to major rural hospitals as well. This was not done. Fine, you didn't do that. Did you at least get your transportation? TK, you didn't want to invest that much in oxygen. And by February, and you thought it was a waste of an investment. By this time the waves had died down, and that is why unlock was in motion.
Yeah.
In January, when you realize that a second wave was imminent, and we know this because the government has sent out the circulars to all the state governments saying you are engaging in extremely reckless behavior, pull up your socks. What happens is the government still does not reactivate the oxygen plan. But what is worse is they don't even reactivate the purchase of trucks and containers that can take liquefied oxygen and oxygen cylinders.
Yeah.
We've got enough oxygen in this country for everybody and industry simultaneously.
Yes.
The problem is we do not have enough trucks, enough liquefied oxygen trucks or enough liquefied oxygen cylinders to run industry and a health spike
Yes.
simultaneously.
Yes.
So this
Oxygen
becomes a
cylinder
huge
नहीं है.
ऑक्सीजन सिलेंडर नहीं है भाई. तुम्हारे को 1000 लिक्विफाइड ऑक्सीजन ट्रक्स इंपोर्ट करने का व्हाट वाज द बिग दिस थिंग. You know how to send these circulars on the 21st of Feb and on the 7th of Jan, but you didn't think of buying trucks. And by the time you already knew about the virulence of the South African variant, you should have known, given what happened during the influenza epidemic, idhar kuch hone wala hai. You know, you can criticize the press up to a point, and most of the press has behaved atrociously during this entire period.
Yeah.
But take, say, for example, the Financial Times. They had reported, they were the first one to report that at the current rate of vaccination, you are going to take 2 to 3 years to vaccinate your entire population. Why didn't you ramp it up then?
Yeah.
I mean, you should have known, if you're producing 10 million shots per month, you should know how long it's going to take for your this thing to get vaccinated, na?
Yeah.
उस टाइम क्यों नहीं रैंप अप किया था यार? जो चूतिया वो ये भेज रहा था, अद्वैत, अपराजिता, stop it.
He's not scolding you, Kushal, just remember. Go watch Kushal and Abhijit's episode on like the Turks and why India were not able to repel the Turks, and you'll have a good example of Abhijit scolding Kushal.
अबे लास्ट टाइम उसने खुद से को अपने को डांट लगाई, मैं डर गया लाइव चैट में, बोला यार मैंने कुछ नहीं किया.
Hello doggy, you're on live TV. Yeah.
हाँ, so what was I talking about? हाँ, तो इसमें, so tell me, the chutiya who sent out the circular to the states, he didn't look at the trucks, he didn't look at the oxygen situation, he didn't look at the fact that you have a new strain of virus coming up. यार ये कैसे लोग हैं यार? तुमको पता है? I really want to know, because you know the government has to bring out a white paper on this now and tell us who took the decisions, who was coordinating this, why was the fellow who sent out these circulars to the state, why was he not aware of the oxygen supply situation, the oxygen transport situation?
Yeah.
Because when you set up an integrated war room, the transport was involved in there. And if the health secretary did not know about it, why is that bastard still in his job?
Yeah. And that goes all the way down, right? That goes all the way down to all.
These officials have blood on their hands.
Yeah.
And if you do not get rid of them, then that command responsibility comes onto the Prime Minister.
Yeah, and यही तो सवाल आता है, Kushal. And while we're talking about all the ये जो anticipate नहीं किया, plan नहीं किया properly and all of that stuff, but at the end of the day, जिन लोगों ने ये anticipation नहीं किया था, जिन लोगों ने ये proper planning नहीं की थी, these are the same people that are still in charge of the entire vaccination process, supply process going forward as well. So what kind of a message does it send if in response to the mistakes that you made over the past month or so in terms of the lack of anticipation, that there's no real consequences on the people who are in decision-making capacities or who are in these planning capacities? What kind of message does it send?
वो सब छोड़ दो, Sham. If you have a case of, like Abhijit mentioned, of Mumbai and Pune, Mumbai having a population more than double of Pune, and when it comes to vaccination numbers, Pune is just, I'm only concerned with the single jab numbers. This, this whole, and I also want to say, do not fall for this trap of jab number 1 and 2. A lot of, snake oil has been sold to people by mixing the two numbers and saying, we have vaccinated these many people. No, just tell me how many single jabs have been given. I do not give a flying F about the second jab. Tell me what is the first jab number. And the first jab number difference between Mumbai and Pune has come down to 97,000.
Yeah.
What is happening in Mumbai? So I am telling you, this what is happening in this country is beyond my brain capacity right now. And everybody is just passing the buck onto the other person. Look, I think Pune is better than Mumbai right now is because Pune formed that group, civil society and the government officials, where the center, state, everybody from top to bottom came together and they said, you know what? We don't care about the CM. We don't care about the PM. We just care about my city and my people. We will not even care about something outside of Pune. And they are getting the job done.
अभी भी in terms of oxygen supply, in terms of the vaccine production का जो ramp up हो रहा है, उसमें भी private sector is playing a huge role. It's playing a very big role across the country.
See, as far as
जिस अंबानी को 24 घंटे हम गालियां देते रहते हैं, वही अंबानी साला ऑक्सीजन प्रोवाइड कर रहा है.
See, Sham, the point is that हमारे देश में ये जो गालियां देने का जो सिलसिला है ना, ये हमेशा चलेगा. अंबानी को, अच्छा मजे की बात देख, कैपिटलिज्म गलत, उद्योगपति गलत, मगर वैक्सीन भी वही देगा. अरे क्यों? उससे वैक्सीन मत लो ना. फिर आदर पूनावाला को राहुल गांधी गाली देता है, राहुल गांधी गाली दे रहा है आदर पूनावाला को, तो वैक्सीन मत लो ना. लगा ही नहीं वैक्सीन, घूमो साले तुम सबके सब बिना वैक्सीन के. मजाक बना के रख दिया है. अरे क्या कर रहे हैं हमारे देश में, मुझे कुछ समझ में नहीं आ रहा है. एंड you know what disheartens me the most is that there is no communication which is sane. You need sane communication at this point of time. There needs to be sane heads. You know what disappoints me is, why are chief ministers coming on Twitter and talking about oxygen? Dear Prime Minister साहब, give me oxygen. कि भाई तेरे पास फोन नहीं है क्या? फोन करना उनको. पीएमओ को फोन नहीं करने को होता है, तेरे को ट्विटर पे आके काय को ड्रामा करने का है. अच्छा, हॉस्पिटल, I think this is so irresponsible. I'm sorry to say. Fortis Hospital in Delhi saying we have only 45 minutes of oxygen left. PMO please do something. तेरे को ये ट्वीट करने की क्या जरूरत है भाई हॉस्पिटल? और पैनिक क्यों क्रिएट कर रहा है तू लोगों में? तू भाई फोन करना है यार अपने सीएमओ को. Why are you trying to create a scene where केजरीवाल is shamed? मेरा पॉइंट है ना, मुझे पीएमओ को शेम करना है ना मुझे केजरीवाल को शेम करना है. मेरे को मेरा काम करवाना है. या तो इन लोगों ने कभी बिजनेस नहीं चलाया, मैं 20 साल से चला रहा हूं, मुझे लगता है कि प्रॉब्लम आती है सॉल्व करो. यार हो क्या रहा है? अरे क्या मेरे दोस्त नहीं है जो हॉस्पिटल चलाते हैं? मैं नाम नहीं ले सकता हूं, मगर अ वेरी डियर फ्रेंड ऑफ माइन रन्स अ बिग हॉस्पिटल. यार वो तो कभी नहीं करता, उसको क्राइसिस होता है वो कैसे भी करके मैनेज करता है. यहाँ पे हॉस्पिटल ट्वीट कर रहे हैं. अरे यार ये पीआर बंद करो यार, तुम्हारी प्रॉब्लम है, तुम लोकल अथॉरिटीज को फोन करो ना. आप सीएम, थैंक यू सर फॉर प्रोवाइडिंग ऑक्सीजन. सॉरी सर, वी डोंट हैव ऑक्सीजन. सीएम ऑफ दिल्ली इज ट्वीटिंग. यार ट्विटर छोड़ना यार, काम करना. सबको ट्विटर की पड़ी यार, मजाक बना के रख दिया. I don't know what is happening to human beings.
So understand
the quickest to try and show कि भाई मेरी गलती नहीं है, किसी और की गलती है. That's the whole point of Twitter.
Exactly, it shows the lack of hospital planning also. Imagine all of these people, Fortis, Max, etc., 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 all of them are medical professionals. Now you can understand that people like ICMR or all these government doctors are all typical sarkari bureaucrats. All these high profile private hospitals, क्या इन्होंने खुद अपना मॉडलिंग नहीं किया था? Why in that period after unlock, hospitals can install their own oxygen units as well. Not one hospital installed its own oxygen unit.
Yeah.
What prevented you from importing it? The modeling has failed across the board. Okay, does the government bear responsibility? Yes. But remember, individual hospitals also bear responsibility in this. पैसा तो बहुत बनाते हो ना? Why can't you invest it in some bloody hospital infrastructure, boss?
Yeah. Yeah.
So this is, the problem with the press is they're not even getting to the story. They were reporting on the oxygen crisis without telling you why the oxygen crisis is happening. Then they got to 9,000 canisters were exported. This was the big story.
Yeah.
एक भी इन चूतियों में से didn't bother looking at the oxygen figures, the total oxygen production numbers. Not one of them is going to, not even one of them had the comprehension to tell you that it was a transportation and storage problem.
Yeah. And wasn't it something like the amount that got exported, just amount ki export ki wo log baat kar rahe the, that was basically 1 day's production capacity.
Less than 1 day's production.
Yeah, and Money Control published that article, and then they had to retract it and then issue an apology. They're the only ones, as far as I know, that issued the apology.
Control did the decent thing and withdrew it. NDTV's article is still up, no apology.
It's still up there. Yep.
Yeah, and that idiot half-tooth Arvind Ganisak, Arvind half-tooth Ganisakaran, he's still doubling down on his bullshit.
Yeah, this is happening. And Kushal,
yes, मेरे को एक बात बता, वो अरविंद क्या मारता है?
वो सिर्फ हार्ड वाले मारता है, वो सॉफ्ट ड्रग्स में उसको इंटरेस्ट नहीं है.
उसका वो भाई देखो, उसको तमिल टीवी चैनल में होना था, वो पता नहीं कैसे अंग्रेजी टीवी चैनल में आया. उसका अंग्रेजी समझने के लिए तमिल में पीएचडी की जरूरत है.
अच्छा, सॉरी श्याम, तू मुझे क्या पूछ रहा था, बोल.
हाँ नहीं, आई वाज जस्ट आस्किंग के what was I gonna ask? I lost my chain of thought again. तला हद है, आज
बुढ़ा हो गया तू, और
बुढ़ा
मुझे
हो गया
सब
मैं
बोलते
कसम
हैं,
से.
मेरी सफेद दाढ़ी.
नहीं, I'll tell you this is what I was gonna ask. I was gonna ask about the another thing you posted about, I think, on Twitter was the vaccination rate, and especially vaccination rate in the 45 and above age group. And you were saying that the vaccination rate there is not at the level that it should be. And how much do you think it has to do with the kind of panic that has been created in the media, that has been created at the hands of the politicians? Or is that a result of vaccine hesitancy, do you think? Or is that a result of just not having vaccinations available or something like that?
So Sham, we have to understand, when we talk about such things, we are talking about these things in aggregate numbers. Yeah. So is there someone who will, so there will be vaccine hesitancy, there will be lack of fear from COVID. Yeah. There will also be the case of vaccine unavailability in some areas. But what people who generally talk about trends do is, and you must be thinking, and even Abhijit की कुशल ये बकवास क्यों कर रहा है, सीधा मुद्दे पे आ. मेरे को ये करना पड़ता है क्योंकि हर टाइम मैं जब ये पॉइंट्स करता हूं तो कोई एक आके बोलता है मगर मैं गया था, मेरे को वैक्सीन नहीं मिली करके वो बकवास करने शुरू हो जाते हैं, तो बहुत फ्रस्ट्रेटिंग होता है. तो आई हैव टू एक्सप्लेन एवरी टाइम. My analysis is that in the poorer sections of the society, at least in the slum dwellers, there is just zero fear of COVID. So उनको लगता है वैक्सीन लूं ही क्यों, उनको तो लगता है लेना ही नहीं है, क्या पका रहे हो. In the middle class and above section of society, there is a significant level of vaccine hesitancy thanks to WhatsApp University. And then there are some cases where people are going to take a vaccine, magar unfortunately on that day, because of extremely bad management of different municipal departments, you just don't find a vaccine in that area. अभी क्या होता है, अभी समझ लो मैं मुंबई में चेंबूर में रहता हूँ. अगर आज मैं चेंबूर के कोई सेंटर्स में जाऊंगा तो आज कोई भी प्राइवेट हॉस्पिटल सेंटर में वैक्सीन नहीं है, जैसे आज के लिए, राइट. अभी हो सकता है कल होगी, तो अभी आज क्या होगा, आज मैं गया, मेरे को वैक्सीन नहीं मिली, तो आदमी रोज रोज तो ट्राई नहीं करेगा ना, फिर आदमी थोड़ा टर्न ऑफ हो जाता है. सो देयर आर मल्टीट्यूड ऑफ फैक्टर्स, बट इफ यू आस्क मी द सिंगल लार्जेस्ट थिंग इज, यार लोगों को डर नहीं लगता कोविड से. मुझे उस बात का डर लग रहा है कि लोगों को डर नहीं लग रहा है. क्यों मैं बता रहा हूं, क्योंकि लोगों को लॉकडाउन से डरना चाहिए. मुझे भी समझ पड़ता है कि कोविड की मोर्टेलिटी रेट बहुत लो है, मगर पॉइंट ये है कि यार लॉकडाउन ठोकता है तो वैक्सीन लोगे तो ही लॉकडाउन नहीं होंगे. तो यार वैक्सीन करो यार, नहीं तो फिर से ये लोग लॉकडाउन कर देंगे. मेरा पॉइंट वो है. एज फार एज द वैक्सीनेशन रेट इज कंसर्न, शाम, आई थिंक the government's mistake, like I said before, was only not offering the credit line before, which is why our vaccination numbers, even in the first 2 months, could not be increased. See, we could have been in a scenario where we vaccinate the healthcare workers at point A, 60 and above at point B, and 45 and above at point C. I think this is the right strategy. Anybody who says this is not the way to go about it is actually a dumbass. See, everywhere in the world, they have gone like this. But what could have been done is, if the vaccine production was spruced up, we could have gone to the 45 and above, Sham, 15 days ahead of what we did, and we could have gone to the 18 and above 15 days ahead. देखो शाम, रियलिटी है कि अभी भी आप अगर डेथ का डेटा, मैं मुंबई की बात करता हूँ, मैं बाहर की नहीं बात करता हूँ. अभी भी डेथ का डेटा देख रहे हो, and in spite of the amount of panic people are trying to create that young people are getting infected, young people, Baba, the mortality rate even right now in this wave, maximum mortality is in the 60 and above with comorbidities.
Yeah.
It is just the way it is. And yes, this time you have lesser deaths than the last wave is because a significant chunk of that 60 and above keeps getting vaccinated. The vaccines work, and lo and behold, that chart that ICMR released yesterday, let us talk about that also. Do you want me to share that chart, Sham? तू चाहता है मैं share करूं वो?
हाँ, go ahead.
So एक मिनट, मेरे को वो निकालना पड़ेगा. So I think this is the most heartening news because we are talking about vaccinations. I think it is a crime not to share this. So look at the release data now. In Covaxin, total vaccinated 1.1 crore है. First dose, I am only concerned about the first dose. तुम second dose को भूल जाओ इस समय. First dose में 93,56,436 को first dose मिली है. Positive after first dose 4,208. कोविशील्ड में 11.6 करोड़ को मिली है. रिसीव फर्स्ट डोज 10 करोड़ है, उसमें 17,145 है. नाउ बिफोर समवन कम्स एंड सेज अरे मेरे रिश्तेदार को हुआ वो इसमें ऐड नहीं हुआ, अरे बाबा, जब इस किस्म की मॉडलिंग होती है चपड़गंजू, वो लोग डिस्क्रिपेंसीज को कैलकुलेट करते हैं. और अगर डिस्क्रिपेंसीज को कैलकुलेट नहीं भी किया तो भाई लास्ट 3 महीने में तुम्हारे अराउंड 45 लाख लोगों को कोविड हुआ है. उसमें से x लाख लोगों को जो x अमाउंट ऑफ लोगों को अगर सीरियस हॉस्पिटलाइजेशन हुई है फॉर अजम्पशन, और अगर इतने लोगों को वैक्सीनेशन होती थी तो भी अगर वो सारा जुगाड़ कर लो, मैं पूरी मैथ नहीं समझाने वाला हूं इधर बैठ के, मैं मैथ्स का टीचर नहीं हूं, मैंने किया था, तो भी वो अराउंड 96-97% आता है. अरे बाबा ये डेटा करेक्ट है. और ये छोड़ दो, एक और मैं डेटा पॉइंट शेयर करना चाहता हूं जो मुझे सबसे, इन माय थ्रेड यस्टरडे आई हैड सेड कि the only way we know this data is correct or not is if the UK data, if the UK data comes out, and guess what, Sham, the UK data is out now. अब ये भी बोल दो कि यूके का डेटा भी झूठा है, हर चीज झूठी है, सब कुछ दुनिया में फ्लॉप है. ये देखो यूके का डेटा. दिस वाज फ्रॉम अ पीडीएफ पेज दैट a handle called Duncan Robinson shared. By the way, you should read the entire 55 page document I did. So this is the comparison between AstraZeneca and Pfizer, and guess what, in UK AstraZeneca works better than Pfizer.
Yeah.
So what I don't understand is, first of all, ये क्या तमाशा था जो AstraZeneca के पीछे इतने लोग क्यों पड़े हुए हैं? ये जो ब्लड क्लॉट का शगुफा छोड़ा हुआ है, मुझे नहीं मालूम. सी आई एम नॉट समवन हु स्पिन्स कॉन्स्पिरेसी थियरीज. फर्स्ट ऑफ ऑल, आई एम नॉट एंटी फाइजर. बाबा, फाइजर मिले, मॉडर्ना मिले, एस्ट्राजेनेका मिले, स्पुतनिक मिले, जो है ठुकवा अपने आप को, सुई निकल आगे लाइफ में. पॉइंट वो नहीं है. पॉइंट ये है कि हवा क्रिएट किया गया था. एज फार एज आई एम कंसर्न, everything in our vaccination strategy was on plan other than the credit line which has created this disaster. Even now, if the government does not understand the vaccine hesitancy and there is no serious government program. देखो, पल्स पोलियो में मानो या ना मानो, अमिताभ बच्चन ने जब आके लोगों को बोला ना, वो 2 बूंद का जो कैंपेन चला था, उससे जबरदस्त इंपैक्ट हुआ था हमारे समाज पे.
Huge impact, yeah.
बाबा, ये सेलिब्रिटीज को लाना पड़ेगा बाहर. सलमान खान को लाना पड़ेगा. भाई बोलेगा तो एक सेक्शन करता है, बहन बोलेगी तो एक सेक्शन करती है, अमिताभ बच्चन बोलता है तो एक सेक्शन करता है, सचिन तेंदुलकर को बोलो तू आके बोल बाबा कोई तीसरा सेक्शन
वैक्सीन लगवाओ,
प्लीज करो. और दूसरा, आप अपने लेवल पे करो. तो मैं तो शुरू कर रहा हूं 1 मई से. बड़ा सिंपल तरीका है, एंड आई विल बी शेयरिंग माय द डिटेल्ड वे आई एम गोइंग टू बी गोइंग अबाउट इट इन मुंबई. बट माय पॉइंट इज that most probably our numbers are not because of availability of vaccines. There is humongous vaccine hesitancy. मुझे समझ के बाहर है. See, I repeat, वैक्सीन लगाओ क्योंकि आपको लॉकडाउन नहीं करना पड़ेगा वापस. क्योंकि गवर्नमेंट्स ओनली नो वन इजी सोल्यूशन. देयर सोल्यूशन इज, केस हो गए ना, मैंने ऑक्सीजन ट्रांसपोर्टेशन बढ़ानी है, ना मैंने बेड्स बढ़ाने हैं, ना मैंने कुछ करना है, मैंने सीधा तुमको बंद कर देना है. तो वो याद है वो जो एक गाना था स्मैशिंग पंपकिंस का, जिसमें एक लाइन थी, डिस्पाइट ऑल माय रेज आई एम स्टिल जस्ट अ रैट इन अ केज.
Rat in a cage, yeah.
हम सबकी हालत इस समय वही है. डिस्पाइट ऑल आवर रेज वी आर जस्ट अ रैट इन द केज बिकॉज ऑफ द ब्लडी लॉकडाउन.
हाँ, वही है. एंड तो एक तरफ तो हम कह रहे हैं कि भाई ये गवर्नमेंट इसको हैंडल नहीं कर रही है अभिजीत. दूसरी तरफ वी आर आल्सो सेइंग कि हमको वैक्सीन लगवानी है. देन यू आर रेजिंग डाउट्स अबाउट द वैक्सीन. यू आर टॉकिंग अबाउट ब्लड क्लॉट्स एंड ऑल ऑफ दैट. Thirdly, you're saying we have to end this, you know, incessant cycle of like lockdowns and then opening the lockdowns and then locking down again. So on the one hand, you're able to say कि यार ये कुंभ मेला super spreader है, इसको रोको. We have to, you know, we have to make sure that we don't do irresponsible things like this. We have to make sure that we don't do irresponsible things like the BJP campaign in Bengal, and that's completely fair. Let me be very clear. That's completely fair to make that criticism. But at the same time, right now, as we speak, right now, the farmers' protests are happening in Delhi. They never really stopped. They're happening on a smaller scale. But abhi Delhi ke border pe farmers baithe hue hain. They're doing iftari parties and they're doing.
I've tweeted the picture.
Yeah.
They formed a 4-kilometer long line
Yeah.
outside Delhi at the moment.
Yeah,
There's a
right
satellite
now it's
picture
going on. Right now it's going on.
Right now, these schmucks are doing this. And they're doing this when Delhi is going through a bloody health crisis. Can you beat that?
Yeah.
When everybody's trying to find oxygen, these stupid, good-for-nothing bastards, you need to seize their bloody land and throw them out on the streets and make them landless.
Hmm.
Freeze their bloody bank accounts and take away everything they have. Put their families out on the road to beg.
Yeah.
They're doing this to Delhi when all this shit is happening.
Yeah. And they're saying we will not stop no matter what happens.
Vultures have a higher social value than these people.
Yeah, Tiketh has openly said कि कुछ भी हो जाए हम नहीं रुकने वाले. But there we are, and you know we don't want to say anything to them.
And he and his protesters get in the front of the vaccination queue.
Yeah. Yeah.
But Sham, can I raise? I am not supporting
point
any.
out something else. Now, this is where the incompetence of this government really shows. You saw that couple who have had so many this things slapped on them for defying the police. मैं अपने पति को चुम्मा दूंगी तो तुम क्या करोगे? गाड़ी से निकल के ये सब
एक मिनट वो वीडियो का
मैं अपने पति को चुम्मा दूंगी तुम क्या करोगे?
हाँ, they have been sent to Tihar jail and all kinds of sections have been slapped on them.
Yeah.
ये चूतिए साले गांडू फार्मर लोग, so-called farmers, they're not even real farmers. They're all bloody dallus, middlemen doing the paisa distribution and pocketing half the money, and the bloody absentee landlords out there, chutiyas. They have done far, far worse, created a much bigger bloody health crisis.
Yeah.
Done a lot more to cops, and nobody is arresting them.
Yeah.
And that shows you the kind of shit we have running our home ministry at the moment.
Yeah. What were you going to say, Kushal?
Yeah, I just want to add a caveat here. Honestly, I am not supporting any congregation right now. But Sham, let us wait for 2-3 weeks and judge at a scientific level whether large gatherings in open air really cause any COVID spread. I am not sure. I am agnostic to it right now. I will genuinely wait for the Bengal COVID numbers because beyond the point, आप कुछ भी कर लो, इंडिया में हर चीज छुपाई नहीं जा सकती है.
There was an article from Surjit Bhalla and Karan Bhasin. I think they put out an article. I think on Indian Express, where they were talking about like as far as we know to this point, and I'm going to try and find that article. But as far as we know to this point, that the Bengal elections and the rallies in the Bengal elections haven't had as massive of an effect on like the COVID numbers as people were anticipating.
Everybody has forgotten. Last time in the first wave, there was an election happening in India that time too. और जबरदस्त campaigning हो रही थी. कौन याद नहीं है लोगों को? बिहार में हुआ था election. हुआ ही था ना? क्या हुआ था बिहार में? कुछ नहीं हुआ था. So इसके लिए मैं बोल रहा हूँ कि COVID में ये जो claims है ना, a lot of your claims are driven by fear and psychosis. So I don't know how to say it. Should we be worried about COVID? Yes. But थोड़ा proportion में. Like, I'll give you an example. तुम्हें याद है कि कितना बड़ा ये fear porn छेड़ी गई थी कि अरे आपको एक बार COVID हो गया इसका मतलब नहीं है कि आपको वापस नहीं हो सकता. हाँ मेरे को मालूम है. मगर 100 में से 96 को नहीं होता है. सिर्फ 4 लोगों को होता है. 4.25 to be precise as per a detailed study of ICMR. तो मतलब आपकी मैसेजिंग क्या होनी चाहिए? कोविड हो गया तो भी होगा कि अगर कोविड हो गया तो 100 में से 96 को नहीं होता. इट डिपेंड्स ऑन योर मैसेजिंग. दैट्स माय पॉइंट. सो ये जो फियर पॉन का मार्केट खोल के रखा हुआ है, थोड़ा इसको भी करना चाहिए. बाय द वे, अभी जैसे प्राइम मिनिस्टर ने कब बोल दिया है कि मैं कल रैली नहीं करने वाला हूँ, प्राइम मिनिस्टर की रैली कैंसिल हो गई है. पॉइंट ये है कि टीएमसी की कोई रैली कैंसिल नहीं हुई है, टीएमसी अपनी रैलियां पूरी कर रही है.
यही तो बात है, उन्होंने खाली ट्विटर पे लिख दिया कि हम रैली नहीं करेंगे, बल्कि वो रैली तो निकाल ही रहे हैं.
अरे the same day that Rahul Gandhi said I am not going to be ye tarofying, Adhir Ranjan Chaudhary put out a tweet saying I am holding a rally here.
Same with CPI, exact same thing with CPI. CPI said Mohammad Salim, Bhaiya, we're stopping our rallies, and then they hold 2 rallies the next day. Yeah, this is everybody. And that's the point that I'm talking about also. Ki ek taraf to theek hai, you're complaining about the Kumbh Mela, you're complaining about BJP's rallies, but you're completely silent about ye farmers' protest, jo almost 4 mahine se chal rahe hain. 4 months se chal rahe hain. You can make a fairly decent case ki it probably has it probably had some kind of contribution to the second wave. But nobody wants to talk about.
Yeah. वो News 18 में जो article, much input from Kushal Mehra.
Yeah.
The hypocrisy of all these. See, this is the point. I am no longer taking these public intellectuals seriously. I am no longer taking these public doctors seriously who come on TV. I am no longer taking any of these so-called health professionals seriously. Not after that Vidya Krishnan and that asshole at Yale. Kya tha? Yale ya Princeton or whatever. Do not take them seriously. The people in this country who do work, they are not given publicity.
Yeah.
It is only the people who talk and do not do that get all the publicity. Why? Because they're very good at talking and nothing else.
Yeah. Yeah, that's completely fair. Yeah. So Kushal, finally, before we move on from this topic, what do you anticipate the steps going forward, and what would be some recommendations for you, for the government and for people going forward?
Yeah, as far as I'm concerned, look, my only complaint from this government has been on the credit line funding. So I'll just read a tweet from the Ministry of Finance right now. मैं क्रेडिट नहीं ले रहा हूँ. बहुत लोगों ने ये सजेशन भेजी थी और मुझे खुशी होती है जब गवर्नमेंट सजेशंस भेजी जाती है, सुनती है. So Ministry of Corporate Affairs clarifies that spending of CSR funds for setting up makeshift hospitals and temporary COVID care facilities is an eligible CSR activity. इसका मतलब क्या हुआ कि बहुत सारे corporates अभी आपकी vaccination drives भी कर पाएंगे under CSR. और जब whenever in our country big corporates get into these things, उनको simple बोलता हूँ. Just think about this scenario, right? So you have a huge. I can only give you examples of my area because I'm just used to my area. So I'm just giving you an example. So there is a huge Reliance facility where my factory is in the Trans Thane Creek. So TTC MIDC इसको बोलते हैं, Trans Thane Creek Maharashtra Industrial Development Corporation.
Yeah.
Now imagine if Reliance sets up a vaccination center and tries up with a body like the Thana Belapur Industries Association, and Thana Belapur Industry Association को Reliance बोलती है कि भाई आप है ना, आपके जितने वर्कर हैं, it's a huge industrial park, like it must be having at least 200-300,000 workers सब मिला के. So उनको बोल दे TBI को कि भाई आप है ना अपने वर्कर्स को सबको इधर भेजना, सब वर्कर्स को हम वैक्सीनेट करेंगे, कंपनी पैसा देगी. एक झटके में कुछ दिनों में लाखों वर्कर हो गए. ऐसे अगर हर जगह पे कॉर्पोरेट्स करें और ये पेड फॉर भी हो, CSR में भी हो, हर तरीके से हो, विद इन डेज, शाम, मार्क माय वर्ड्स, हमारा देश इसमें से बाहर निकल जाएगा. क्योंकि राइट नाउ देखो, हम है ना, कनाडा नहीं है. सी प्रॉब्लम क्या है कि फर्स्ट वर्ल्ड कंट्री नहीं है, हम थर्ड वर्ल्ड हैं. हम लोग फर्स्ट वर्ल्ड लॉकडाउन करते हैं और थर्ड वर्ल्ड कॉम्पनसेशन देते हैं. हमारी ठुक जाएगी. हमको करना है थर्ड वर्ल्ड, हमको हमारी थर्ड वर्ल्ड रियलिटी से डील करना है. देखो कनाडा में लॉकडाउन है इस समय, वापस ऑन्टेरियो में जैसे ही लॉकडाउन होता है ना, जो सफर करते हैं उनको कैनेडियन गवर्नमेंट पैसे देती है. हमको कुछ मिलता नहीं है, ना मेरे वर्कर को मिलता है, ना मुझे मिलता है. तो हम नहीं अफोर्ड कर सकते. तो राइट नाउ इंडिया को देखना है कि हमें कोविड की डेथ्स भी बचानी है, हमें इकोनॉमी को भी बचाना है. तो हम इकोनॉमी को कैसे बचाएंगे? अभी हमको वर्कफोर्स को वैक्सीनेट करना है. एंड आई एम वेरी हैप्पी दैट द रीसेंट स्पीच ऑफ द प्राइम मिनिस्टर, ही लिटरली यूज्ड द वर्ड्स कि इकोनॉमिक वर्कफोर्स वैक्सीनेशन बहुत जरूरी है. सो लेट अस डू दीज थिंग्स. सो माय होप इज now that the vaccination has been opened up, State governments come out of their high horses, they become mature, and they let the corporate India do what they are best at, that is deliver results. Oxygen के समय भी corporate India ने बचाया. स्टैम्प पेपर पे लिख के ले लो, अगर कॉर्पोरेट इंडिया को वैक्सीनेशन ड्राइव हैंडल करने दिया, विद इन 3 months हम ये सरदर्द से बाहर होंगे और हमको थर्ड वेव नहीं देखनी पड़ेगी. मगर कंट्रोल फ्रीक्स जो हमारे यहाँ पे स्टेट ब्यूरोक्रेसी और सेंट्रल ब्यूरोक्रेसी में, क्या वो होने देंगे, ये तो वक्त ही बताएगा.
And there's such a fear.
Mind you, in spite all of this, because this entire situation is because of this control freakery, what is that wanker Rahul Gandhi's suggestion? More control.
Yep.
Control did not work, so we want even more control.
Yep. And on top of that, whichever private
why did you lose? Why did you lost? Because you were a bloody Islamist. Why do you lose? Because we weren't Islamist enough. We need to become even more Islamist.
Yep.
This is what socialists also do. Venezuela, not true socialism. We now need true socialism.
Yeah, and on top of that, उसमें जो भी प्राइवेट एंटिटीज आके पार्टिसिपेट करने की कोशिश कर रही हैं, ये आदमी आके उल्टा उनको भी गालियां दे रहा है कि ये तो क्रोनी कैपिटलिस्ट हैं, we should not be letting them control vaccine production, all these kinds of things, get them out, let the government needs to handle everything, essentially. You know, so there's a very strong section with a very significant chunk of the population that still wants the government to handle everything. वो चाहते ही नहीं कि private sector इसमें आके कुछ भी participate करे, क्योंकि anything that the private sector does is crony capitalism.
I have a lot of friends on the left.
Yeah.
And in private, they've all been telling me that Rahul's behavior in this entire thing has been nothing short of disgraceful. You know, one of them who, I actually have running fights with this person publicly on Twitter, who's actually a good friend. In private, this person is like, this fellow is behaving like a troll.
Yeah.
You know, this renegade act does not go down, because if you're only doing this renegade lone wolf act, people pick up. If you're a leader, you have to look after everybody.
Yeah.
You have to make people feel good. You don't become a leader making people feel bad.
Yeah.
You know, you can't just keep hurling shit all the time, say nothing positive in your life. And people look at that and they say, bhai, ye to दूसरे लोगों की देखभाल नहीं कर सकता है, हमारी देखभाल कैसे कर पाएगा? He only thinks of himself. The messaging is absolute crap. I don't know who is advising this idiot, but you know, this is going to ricochet.
He's essentially turned into one of those like social media, you know, he's essentially turning into like a social media influencer. जो होते हैं ना, जो अपने बायो में लिखते हैं, I'm a social media activist. He's turning into one of those people. He started a YouTube. No, honestly, he started a YouTube channel. ठीक है? He's going to be appearing on YouTube videos every week. Now he's just taking pot shots at like Indian politicians. He's turned into like a social media activist.
There is no difference between Rahul Gandhi and Farhan Akhtar today.
No, yeah.
Except Farhan Akhtar can actually produce good content. Rahul Gandhi can't even do it.
Yeah, that's who he's become. He's become like a social media guy, like one of those people that just like attacks, you know, just post like sarcastic takes on like every single Twitter post. That's who he's become essentially. So he's found a nice little career niche for himself.
Abhijit ने अभी ये बोला, और कल को राहुल गांधी बोलेगा, मैं राहुल बोल रहा हूँ.
See, there's some very good comments that have come in. I want to read them out. This channel, the G.I. Joe show, says, Sam Sharma, bullshit person, you never give the mugga. Never give the
थोड़ा निकलने दे इसमें से.
Money, मुग्गा चोर कहीं के, most baddest.
भाई थोड़ा पैंडेमिक से निकलने दे, उसके बाद सब हो जाएगा. पैंडेमिक से थोड़ा निकलने दो, तो सारा ब्लॉक हो रखा है इसमें.
Jahangir Gotla says, hopefully Raga will be in jail for all the chaos he's creating. There's a line he has crossed it repeatedly. Boss nahi hone wala hai.
अबे घंटा
If you're a small time guy, then this government has the guts to arrest you. If you're anything joint secretary level and over,
अमेरिका में हिलरी जेल में नहीं जाती, तुमको लगता है यहाँ राहुल जेल में जाएगा? मजाक कर रहे हो तुम लोग.
कुछ नहीं होगा. What is the logic, Vijay Datta? What is the logic behind the obsession of BJP dispensations with Jatka implementation? It's not just a BJP thing, huh? It's across the board. I think if you listen to this discussion carefully, it shows you that state governments, irrespective, Shiv Sena, Congress, BJP, whatever, It's all Jatka implementation in this country. आता है उसके बाद भूल जाते हैं बस.
Yeah. Okay, before we get out of here, we have to take a few questions as well. But let's do meme review before we take some questions and finish up. So we did all these important discussions, but we have saved the most important discussion and the most important topic for this moment. So I'm sorry you had to wait 49 minutes for the most important topic, but here it is. I want you guys to tell me who did it better. This is from Ryuk Sharma. So please explain to me who did it better, Kushal Mehra or Abhijit Iyer Mitra?
Abhijit Iyer Mitra. Because she was beautiful. I am beautiful. Kushal can't do it because you know वो खड़ा खड़ा सा आदमी.
Who won? Please decide. Please let us know in the comments, in the live chat, in the comment section. Let us know who won the battle of the bean. Yeah, the battle of the Nagin dance.
Vote for me, not this loser.
Yes, please. We can also get in the future. We can get Abhijit and Kushal to do a little debate to put their own pitches on why they should win the battle of the Nagin dance. So please vote. Please vote and let us know. अभी नहीं आया. अभी वो उधर अभी कहाँ गया हुआ? कर्नल्स कबाब गया हुआ. नहीं, कहाँ गया हुआ था? किसके लिए उसको गालियां पड़ रही थी? I forgot. Which place did he say which poor guy was getting abused for? Do you remember? I forgot the name of the place. पता नहीं. But वो हो सकता है वहाँ गया हुआ हो. This is from HL Freeman. Indian relatives to you when you finally get a job. Oh, let me share the volume so people can hear it. So this is Indian relatives to you when you finally get a job.
शादी करा दो. बहुत बुरा हो गया. शादी करा दो. बच्चे नहीं पैदा कर पाएंगे अभी. शादी करा दो. हाँ.
Yes, so this is Abhijit's message to everyone. As soon as you get a job, please शादी करा दो और काम खत्म करो. It's a good meme though. Oh, speaking of Rahul Gandhi, this is from Kanya East.
Kanya East.
भाई कैसे नाम रखते हो यार तुम लोग? We have to do a separate meme review just for the names of half of these people. Yeah. Kanye West and Kanye East. The meme says, they call me 420, 4 trips to Bangkok, criticize 2 big industrialists, 0 contribution to it.
अरे ये मेरे को भेज यार, ये ट्वीट करना है.
They call me 420. भाई कसम से भाई अपना सोशल मीडिया इन्फ्लुएंसर बन गया है.
This is amazing.
और क्या फोटो लिए राहुल गांधी के?
फोटो भी देखो ना, थग लाइफ वाली लिए बिल्कुल. Me 420.
नहीं, but his photo choosing ability isn't the best. ये ना सबसे best ability है नूपुर शर्मा की.
हाँ.
हमारे
Op India chooses amazing
he
photos. He
somehow manages to choose the ugliest photos of people somehow. I don't know how she gets them. She's got this natural talent. She always gets the best picture.
Yeah, she does. But this is a great meme, dude. Easy happy earn up for you. Kanye इसको तो सिर्फ नाम के लिए happy earn up दे देना चाहिए. I'll send it to you right after the show. But good meme. अब बढ़िया है. अब तो we get to enjoy Rahul Gandhi even more now that his YouTube channel is here. Now we get to enjoy it even more. So if you guys were not aware of what I'm talking about is that Congress party has announced that it's going to create a YouTube channel, a dedicated YouTube channel where Rahul Gandhi will appear on regular basis. So my wish was always for Rahul Gandhi to become a YouTuber, and now it's coming true. So thank you, Bhagwan. This meme comes to us from Blinky. Blinky says very good thing. He says, I received $20. You receive getting featured in meme review. So remember, if you want to get featured in meme review, then please super chat us $20. The easiest way to get featured. Yes, that is absolutely the easiest way. Completely agree. this is from Satire Sarthi. This is I think he says inspired from Kushal Mehra. I think he's talking about the Raat wala lockdown in Maharashtra. Inspired from Kushal Mehra. Corona रात को ही क्यों निकलता है? This corona शहंशाह है. अंधेरी रातों में निकलता है कोरोना. Unless the virus looks like this, night curfews are not a permanent solution. Don't hesitate, vaccinate. Good meme, man.
Good.
Again,
ये
good
तो
stuff
कुछ
from Satire Sarthi. Good stuff.
अरे देख दिव्यांशु इधर है. टकले
आ गया क्या?
ने देखा नहीं अभी तक. हाँ दिव्यांशु मुन्ना आ गया.
आया कि नहीं आया? आ गया? हाँ.
अभी डायपर लगा के आया मेरा बच्चा.
डायपर लगा के आया.
This is from Asterion 77. बनाई दिया किसी ने finally ये meme. This is from Asterion 777. And he says declassified footage from दिखा रहा हूँ. Let me just read the headline. Declassified footage from joint operation between Mossad and RAW. It's finally here. गांधी जी को देखो. करवा के ही मानेंगे शादी.
Yes.
It's so good. दिव्यांशु को देख relationship goals.
You wouldn't get this from any other guy. I just wanna tell you how I feel. Gotta make you understand. Never gonna give you up. I'm gonna let you down.
Good job, man. Good job.
गांधी और नेहरू को पीछे डाला हुआ.
Gandhi ji and Nehru ji is feeling so proud. Oh my God, amazing. Amazing meme, yaar. This is the easiest happy earn-up of the week. Easiest.
रब ने बना ली जोड़ी.
इन दोनों ने तेरे को हैप्पी अर्नअप दिया है. जब मैं तेरे पर हाथ लगाऊंगा ना तब तू देखियो क्या तेरा होता है.
ये जोड़ी तो भैया आप हो
मैं रेस्पेक्टेबल होमोसेक्सुअल हूँ और मेरे पे ये होमोफोबिक अत्याचार किया जा रहा है.
शाम मेरे को ये वीडियो भेजना. मैं इसको ट्वीट करूंगा.
इसको शेयर करना सोशल मीडिया पे. राणा अयूब नाराज हो जाएगी फ्री में. Oh my God, amazing. I loved it. This is also this one is also amazing. This one's from Satire Sarthi again. Satire Sarthi says Abhijit Iyer Mitra discussing Indian history, defense, foreign policy and administrative systems. Abhijit Iyer Mitra discussing pop culture. Abhay Deol is Wolverine. Shilpa Shetty is Kardashian. Shilpa Yeah, that was such an amazing moment for this show. अरे ये तो शिल्पा शेट्टी है.
This is so true. That's so
शिल्पा शेट्टी है. Abhay Deol is Wolverine. Amazing. Oh my God. This was a great meme. Good job again, Satire Sarthi. ये नया meme format कहाँ से ढूंढ लिया भाई तुमने? It's amazing. This is also a good one. This is from Vic Zoom. Some chutia homophobe asking Abhijit sir, are you gay? AIM. Me asking a genuine political question.
genuine political question.
अभिजीत पे तेरा उन्हीं लोगों पे भाव देता रहता है.
अरे ये लोड नहीं हुआ है मेरे लिए. फिर से लोड कर.
अबे ये लोड नहीं हुआ. तेरा इंटरनेट फिर बैठ गया. तेरे को दिख नहीं रहा.
मैं क्या
आएगा उसको।
नहीं
अभी दिखा?
नहीं
अभी दिखा?
तेरा इंटरनेट ही टट्टी है।
अबे इसका इंटरनेट ही टट्टी है, दैट्स द प्रॉब्लम।
मेरे को
तेरा
इसके पेज
इंटरनेट का
मेरे को
टट्टी है।
हाँ अब दिखा। हाँ ये क्या
हाँ, तो 15 मिनट के बाद दिखाई पड़ा इसको।
हाँ some
दिखा?
chutia homophobe asking Abhijit sir are you a gay? Me asking genuine political question. My genuine political question.
अभिजीत बेचारे का फोकस कहीं और ही रहता है। ये देखो, ये है बढ़िया कमेंट।
ये
हाँ,
बेस्ट
लवड़े
है।
का
तेरा इंटरनेट कांग्रेस जितना स्लो है।
इसका नाम देखो, इसका नाम है श्रीकांत, ये जरूर अयंगार होगा।
अयंगर होगा, हाँ सही बात है। ये और देखो ये इंसल्ट, बूमर अभिजीत। बेचारा यंग आदमी को इस तरह से तुम लोग ट्रोल कर रहे हो, शर्म
इतना
करो।
होमोफोबिया मेरी जिंदगी, जिसमें ये 50 मिनट में मेरा इतना होमोफोबिक अटैक हुआ है मेरे पे इस कार्यक्रम पे, वो मेरी जिंदगी में नहीं हुआ है कहीं। अरे सबके सब तुम लोग
टैब बंद कर दे। बंद कर।
साला ये आदित्य साला, इतना होमोफोबिया मेरे पे। लोग जलता है कि मैं हम बंगाली इंटेलेक्चुअल है।
टैब बंद कर दे। हे भगवान, oh my god, this is also good. This is ये फिर से आ गया, फिर से आया। This one is from Johnny yes Abu 786.
अरे इसको कोई मीम ये नेम अवार्ड दो ना, हैंडल अवार्ड
ये
दो।
इसको कसम से I think we'll have to, okay, we'll probably start a new competition starting next week to see who has the best memes, number one, and who has the best name, who has the best username. दो अवार्ड देना शुरू करेंगे। Every week from next week onwards we'll give out the number one meme of the week award and number two the best username of the week award. So remember that. So, this week all three of you have to announce your favorite meme of this week's meme review. So this one is from Johnny yes Abu 786. He says, when Bay leaves you without telling her job. दुख देखो, दुख इसका दुख।
Oh shit! यार ये मेरे को भेज, ये सब ट्वीट करना है, ट्वीट।
When Bay leaves you without telling her जात। साला पता भी नहीं चला कौन जात थी लड़की। Oh भाई, amazing, it's amazing. Best name of the week, Johnny yes Abu 786, easy award.
Absolutely.
And fantastic happy earner meme. And which is this one? This is from Saburo Arasaka. क्या भाई, ये क्या एनिमे नाम डाल देते हो तुम लोग, मेरे को समझ में ही नहीं आता तुम्हारा एनिमे। How fuckboys pose in group pictures. It's such a good photo, man. मोदी का swag देखो। swag bro. Lovely photo. How fuck boys pose in group pics.
Is that an actual real shot or is that this thing?
Is he actually posing like that?
I can't believe he appeared on TV like this, bro.
No, this is a real photo. It has to be a real photo. It does not look photoshopped at all. It has to be a real. He must be saying something.
No, I do not think he would have appeared on TV looking like this.
He did, obviously.
Nirmalya says it's real.
It's real. Nirmalya says it's real. Dekh lo.
You're kidding me.
Bhai, he's the millennial, he's the hipster before hipsters even came around.
Dude,
The original hipster.
that dress looks worse. That dress looks worse than bloody Jack Dorsey appearing in front of Congress.
He looks like he runs a conflict-free coffee shop in Brooklyn or something. Yeah. All he needs to do is just twirl his mustache completely and then announce that he's going completely vegan. And then he'll complete. Yeah, then he'll complete. So it's very good meme. Easy, happy Arnab. This gets... so one thing that you guys have to tell me now is which one was your favorite from the week? Which one was your favorite meme from the week? Let me go to Kushal first.
I like that one. Where Abhijit ka ye wala, ye wala. I like that one. Satire Sarthi ka.
I like the...
Or the Johnny Yes Abbu one was also good.
I like the Abhijit and what's it? The ladies. Rana
Ayub wala. Yeah, that was awesome.
Rickroll meme. That one was my favorite.
I like the Rahul Gandhi one, 420 one.
Yes.
And the ye wala one, the not Prashant Kishore, yaar, ye jaat kaun karte rehte?
Ravish Kumar. Yes. Oh, special shout out to Satire Sarthi as well for making this for me. It's really cool. I really liked it. I'm going to save this on social media as well. Certified secular. Thanks very much for making this, man. I'm going to make this my profile picture. Oh, shout out to Satire Sarthi once again. अबे ये आदमी इसका इंटरनेट भाई तेरा ये 1999 का इंटरनेट क्यों लगवा रखा है भाई? Join us in the new millennium.
कुछ नहीं लगा.
ये शुरू भी वैसे ही करता होगा जो आवाज नहीं आती थी AOL की. डायल अप इंटरनेट वाली आवाज. Probably still has a dial up internet.
ठहर अभी ये अच्छा नहीं है, मेरे को अच्छा नहीं लगा. सर्टिफाइड सेक्युलर. हाँ नहीं
अच्छा नहीं लगा इसको.
ये थोड़ा
ये कुशल से भी बड़ा पंजाबी है.
तू ओसामा लग रहा है.
अरे लग रहा है, मैं क्या करूं?
हाँ, भगवान ने शक्ल ही ये दी है तो मैं क्या करूं उसका. But thank you very much. Good memes. And we're going to share these on social media as well, especially the Rahul Gandhi and Ravish Kumar meme that's going on Twitter, without a doubt. But one thing before we go on to answer your questions and get out of here, one thing, since we have a lot of people here, I just wanted to share this and announce there's a conference actually being organized. This is a conference being organized by the Hindu Students' Council of Rutgers University. This is tomorrow, 23rd of April. This is Understanding Hindu Phobia Conference at Rutgers University. It's a conference that examines the historical origins of Hindu phobia, studies its common tropes, and underlines its impact on Hindu Americans. It is being organized again by the Rutgers Hindu Students' Council. I think it is in association with co-sponsorship from the Rutgers University Student Assembly. It's a virtual event, so anybody can go and join. I believe it's free as well. So it's a webinar, and it's going to have group discussions, multimedia web gallery of resources, panel discussions. Featured speakers are Arvind Sharma, Jeffrey Long, Meenakshi Jain, Vishal Ganeshan, Yvette Rosser, Indumati Vishwanathan, Parth Parihar, Alex Galitsky from the Armenian National Committee of America. So if you're able to, guys, please go join. Please give them some support. Again, after a very, very long time, we are seeing some sustained pushback, and it's very ballsy of the Hindu Students' Council to organize this, this conference in the belly of the beast, where they're facing so much pushback and so much hostility. So it's very important that, people are able to go attend it and show their support. So if you're able to, if you're available, if you're free, please go support the Hindu Students' Council and join the conference if you can as well. It's on Eventbrite. I will leave the link for the event in the description of this channel as well. So
I also have an
check it out.
So this is my last Sham Sharma show because I'm so completely devastated all the homophobic comments coming this way. Somebody tells me the more I listen to Abhijit Iyer, the more I'm convinced God is Iyengar. I will not stand for this kind of homophobia,
Slander.
Iyer-phobia. I'm feeling that this is no longer a safe space for me. I have been abused and mistreated on this program.
Hey, Ram.
And just because I'm such a sweetie pie who never abuses,
Never.
and who Satyam Vada, Mishtam Vada
Yeah,
is my
exactly.
philosophy.
None of our
And
videos have ever got demonetized because of
yeah,
abuses.
and
Yeah.
I've been completely abused in this program, and I'm feeling very traumatized right now. So bye.
Look, so before you go, answer this question for us. This is from Anish on the super chat and from the Discord. Anish is asking thoughts on US trespassing on India's EEZ.
They've done it every year for the last 10 years, boss.
Oh, really?
The question is, every year except 2018 and during COVID, I think. Yeah, those were the only 2 years they did do it. And the difference is, this is the only time they announced, they put it out in press statements. Otherwise, they used to compile it into their annual report and put it. But the only difference this year has been that they announced it on this thing, which they shouldn't have. They're doing stupid things like that. But other than that, they've done it every year. And we've never protested because we're like, we're very clear. We have imposed that to get back at China and say, if you can do it, we can also do it.
Yeah.
Okay. So, it's very stupid for America to be equating all its allies along with China. But then, you've got a bloody comatose cadaver in the White House. And his the deputy is one of those crazed psychopaths who makes Hannibal Lecter seem relatively sane by comparison. So, ऐसे अगर चूतिया होंगे प्रेसिडेंट वाइस प्रेसिडेंट, यही तो तेरे को मिलेगा ना, और क्या मिलेगा तेरे को.
There's another one. He's saying, Abhijit, major terrorist attack. This is from Ramesh Suresh from 5 Star. He's saying major terrorist attacks in India stopped after 26/11. What do you think changed in terms of institutional changes that made this possible?
No. What do you think Pulwama was, boss?
Yeah, and Uri, Pathankot.
So you can make a point that it was restricted to Kashmir. But don't take this for granted. They will start attacks again. Never take it for granted. There will be another major attack. If and when they manage to find a weakness, they will exploit it. See, the only thing good we have going for us is that if we're a generally incompetent country, Pakistan is even more incompetent. I've tweeted out the video clips, the audio clips of Ali Zaidi, Minister for Shipping, talking about Imran Khan. Go check it out. Do a search at the rate of Ayerwal Ali Zaidi, and you will hear all the beautiful language he uses about Imran Khan. That tells. So they're even more incompetent than us. Na? When they find something, don't take it for granted.
Kanav is asking, has Abhijit got a chance to listen to Alice in Chains yet?
वो क्या है?
It's one of the greatest rock and roll bands of all time. What are you talking about? ये क्या है? अब ये तो vernacular भी नहीं है भाई.
See, I don't have these pedestrian tastes.
अच्छा, अब ये भी pedestrian हो गया.
I land up in Vienna and listen to the opera. I don't go to all these, sweaty concerts. See, we sit, we dress up, we put on bow ties, and we sit down, we have polite conversation, we drink champagne, we have salmon sandwiches, and we're watching civilized people who don't go around smelling of body odor, long unkempt hair, ugly clothes, no taste in clothes or perfume or anything like that, no drugs. So I don't go to all these druggy fests.
Acha. So only high class, highbrow stuff for you. No Alice in Chains.
Only Muhammad is supporting me. Thank you, Muhammad. That's why it's so secular, and that's why I get them all that Hindu khaki chaddi types.
That makes total sense. Question for Kushal from, who is this? Arey kahan gaya yaar? From KM. He's saying, do you think the government should come up with a pandemic playbook for the future and also like a transparent white paper of what went wrong and what could have been better?
Yes. The pandemic playbook is very important, and it's not just the pandemic playbook. You need to keep updating it every 10 years or so to keep in touch with technology changes, infrastructure changes, changes in your industrial structure, changes in your services structure, changes in urbanization and things like that. You know, I think the biggest lesson of this entire pandemic has been that even a data-rich country like America is enormously incompetent at managing. But with India, it's been a fairly competent management in the absence of data, that we're an extremely data-poor country.
In my view, what the government is going to do is going to be nothing. Governments don't do anything. Governments never look long term. They only look short term. So to expect anything from the government is useless. What needs to be done is people who genuinely care about lives. We are living in a unique time where there is social media and there is this opportunity where you can actually do a lot of things. So definitely I'm going to be working on this with a few people. I've already spoken to a few who are interested like me, who are kind of obsessed with COVID. What I'm going to be doing is few years down the line, I'm going to study what happened during COVID, how many people died, how many people got infected in reality, what was the true mortality rate, what were the different medications that were prescribed, what were the things that were messed up, what were the policy decisions that were taken, what was done right, what was done wrong, and what are our larger takeaways from something like this. I don't expect a single government in the world to do this, because I'll tell you why they will never do this. No government will sponsor anything, because I can put this in writing. Every single government has messed up in COVID. Across the world, whether it is Fauci Chacha in America, whether it is Canadian Pappu Trudeau in Canada, whether it is smiling authoritarian Jacinda in New Zealand, each and every person does not know
She's
what
not
to
even
do.
a smiling authoritarian. She's more like Bugs Bunny authoritarian. Or uska, and you got the pronunciation of Fauci right. It's actually Fakchi.
Anyways, so my point is, I definitely am going to look at longer trends, because I believe so much snake oil has been sold in terms of COVID and what happens. That Sham, मैं तेरे को बोल रहा हूँ अभी जैसे ये booster shot, I am not anti booster shot. मैं तो लेने वाला हूँ booster shot COVID का. मेरा point ये है कि क्या ये हर साल लगने वाला है, क्या नहीं लगने वाला है. अरे तू ये छोड़ दे. Do you know, I'll just give you an example how the experts have messed up. जब कोविड शुरू हुआ था, इन्होंने बोला था फर्स्ट इन्फेक्शन की एंटीबॉडीज कितने महीने लास्ट करती हैं? 2 महीने. 2 को किया 4 महीने, 4 को किया 6 महीने, अभी 6 महीने पे अटके हुए हैं. पॉइंट ये है कि मुंबई में फर्स्ट वेव हुई थी लास्ट ईयर अप्रैल में, जून में. अभी हम लोग हैं मई में. कितने महीने हुए? स्लम्स में कुछ हो रहा है. तो ये कहां तक सही है? कहां तक ये चीजें सही है? मैं नहीं बोल रहा हूं. पॉइंट ये है कि इनको किसी को कुछ पता नहीं है. ये सब कोविड की आड़ में आपको डराने में कितनी फ्रीडम्स ले रहे हैं, और कितनी फ्रीडम लेना जस्टिफाइड है, और कितना ये साइंस सच है, ये किसी को मालूम नहीं है. नोबडी नोज अबाउट इट. सो people who love and care about freedom and democracy, unlike many people who pretend to but don't, these authoritarians are going to, the biggest power grab in the history of humanity is happening in front of our eyes under the garb of COVID. I am not a COVIDiot. I am someone who believes in vaccination, believes in wearing masks, but I am also a true lover of liberty and freedom. And I am going to do this as my life's mission, to understand how people were given snake oil by these experts, so-called experts, and we just don't know whom to trust in this entire mess. कोई बकवास करता है काढ़ा पीने से कोविड नहीं होगा. अबे सटिया गए हो क्या?
Yeah, there was another one. Dekho na, either just an addendum to what you just said. There was a comment from Pratham Sharma, and this is like a lot of people. I think somebody like him posted something similar last week as well. That I'm not able to convince my family. They think that they're invincible, and judging by their medical history, they're not invincible to COVID. How do we convince them to go take the vaccine as soon as possible?
Well, simple प्रथम, first of all begin by saying देखो इस बार second wave भी हो रही है, तो जिन लोगों की मृत्यु हो रही है वो हैं जिन्होंने, ज्यादातर लोग हैं जिन्होंने वैक्सीन नहीं लिया, overwhelming, मतलब 100 में से 99.9 जिनकी मृत्यु हो रही है 60 के ऊपर आयु में, उन्होंने वैक्सीन नहीं ली। दूसरी बात यह है कि ग्लोबल डेटा है कि वैक्सीन लेने के बाद मृत्यु होने के चांसेस बहुत कम हो जाते हैं। यू आर बेसिकली प्रोटेक्टेड एज गुड एज 100%, नॉट 100%। उसका रियल लाइफ डेटा है। यू हैव इजराइल, यू हैव अमेरिका, यू हैव यूके, यू हैव इंडिया। अरे 11 करोड़ तो सिंगल शॉट्स दे दिए हैं ना, उसमें मोर्टेलिटी खत्म हो गई है almost. So the point is that's one. And if they still are not convinced, you tell them last year during the pandemic you had stories of frontline workers and doctors dying non-stop. Now those stories have completely disappeared. That means the vaccine is the only factor between them. So प्रथम that's your only way. नहीं तो find out करो तुम्हारा कौन सा रिश्तेदार बाहर है जिनको उनको मिलना है desperately, और बोलो आपको ट्रैवल करने को ही नहीं मिलेगा पासपोर्ट के बगैर, वो वीजा वैक्सीन के बगैर। वो सबसे अच्छा तरीका है। उनको बोलो गवर्नमेंट कानून ला रही है, वैक्सीन लेना ही पड़ेगा, नहीं तो आपकी सब्सिडी, आपके गवर्नमेंट बेनिफिट्स कैंसिल हो जाएंगे, आपका LIC कैंसिल हो जाएगा, कुछ भी अनाप शनाप झूठ बोल दो।
Very important question from Abranil Rock. Hey Aim, what do you think about Manishankar Iyer? Manishankar Iyer is the exception who proves the rule.
This is interesting from Joshua Chaim. He's saying COVID-19 is here to stay and it would be common to take booster shots every year, just like flu vaccines given out in UK as an example. This will be because of mutations. Do you guys feel that way as well?
देखो ये म्यूटेशन का भी जो ये जो है, देखो will booster shots stay? Yes. Will many people take it? I don't know. और ये booster shots का भी जो है, क्या बोला, ये कैसा हो गया मालूम है? अभी जैसे आई कैन ओनली गिव यू अ क्रिकेटिंग एनालॉजी। मैं वही स्पोर्ट खेला बचपन में ज्यादा। तो पहले होता था सिर्फ एक इन स्विंग होती थी, आउट स्विंग होती थी, या इन ऑफ स्पिन होता था या लेग स्पिन होता था, फिर गूगली आई, फिर फ्लिपर आई, फिर ये आई। ये क्या होता है, कभी सिंगल वेरिएंट होता है, कभी साउथ अफ्रीकन वेरिएंट होता है, कभी इंडियन वेरिएंट होता है। बाद में पता चलता है कि मोस्ट ऑफ दीज वेरिएंट्स डू नॉट एस्केप द वैक्सीन। रियल देखो, जस्ट काम डाउन, लुक एट रियल वर्ल्ड डेटा, calm down. You just don't know what happens when you develop herd immunity. You don't know anything. I am not saying booster shots will not be required. What I am trying to say is you don't know, so stay agnostic. What happened to the art of staying agnostic to things?
This is a great question.
देखो तुम्हारा तो नहीं भीषण इम्पोर्टेंट है ये एक और। ये कितना कमीना इंसान है गिरिधरन, इसने लिखा है बाजीराव मस्तानी इक्वल्स अभिजीत राणा। कितना कमीना इंसान है ये, कितना कमीना इंसान है ये, कितना होमोफोबिक, कितना मद्रासी फोबिक है ये।
बाजीराव मस्तानी।
Yes.
Amazing.
And see, Mohammed is saying all nice things about me. He's saying, please don't leave us, Aim. We love you more than Rana Ayub. ये देखो,
मोहम्मद असली आदमी है, इससे सीखो यार कुछ लोग।
Fellow Giridharan, clearly he's an Iyengar from the name. He's equating me to Abhijit Rana.
What is this? This is an interesting one. Clarence Chan is asking, Aditya, be a realist. We are on target to supplant the United States. India should be a proud Hindu Asian nation like Korea or Japan and improve relations with China. China can drop Pakistan in exchange for market access. I think, is Clarence Chinese? Maybe he is Chinese, but that's his question. What do you think?
No. Boss, this has been tried before. We are China's second or third biggest individual trade partner and things like that. Their trade with us is what, 10-15 times the volume of their trade with Pakistan. They still won't do it because their thing is, if you are a small country, you're perfectly fine. If you're big or an economically relevant country in your neighborhood, they will fundamentally view you as an enemy, because if you are not an enemy now, you will be an enemy tomorrow, and you need to be destabilized, or the tools of your destabilization need to be set in motion today.
That's pretty similar to the US as well, though, right? That is a very, very American kind of outlook on things as well. No?
Not really. The Americans like powerful friends, and I'll tell you why. Because their graph, and a lot has been written about.
But do they like powerful friends who can match them economically and militarily?
Well, they know India will never match them economically and militarily.
I'm just
You're
saying it's a hypothetical scenario.
They do.
Okay.
In fact, you will find throughout their history, they keep egging people to do more and more and more. They keep telling them you are not militarily powerful enough. You need to be fucking pulling your weight. Trump's whole thing to Europe was, you bloody lazy fucks. You are 2/3 this thing of America.
Yeah.
And yet your militaries are so far behind. Pull up your bloody socks.
But that was Trump, though, right? That was not the mainstream consensus.
But it's
in
also
European...
been, the previous presidents have not been as abrasive about it. Previous presidents have not been as abrasive about it, but they've all been very clear about it. Because see, the American equation is that paramountcy lasts for a while, and invariably the story of empires is when your paramountcy is finished, you come down like this. America's equation has always been our paramountcy will last like this. Kabhi kabar to khatam hoga hi. But then when it ends, we need to do what Britain did to America, which is that if you get a good friend, you don't plummet like this. What happens is your decline then becomes a very slow, long, prolonged, drawn out process, which can be arrested by the successor state you create.
Yeah.
So they're constantly looking to create successor states. That is their redundancy. See, America has always been very, very smart about these things. Unlike the British, which were not true capitalists, they were mercantilists, which is you create artificial conditions, artificial inefficiencies in your colonies so that only your manufacturing will be tops. And in the process, the British worker never benefited realistically. He remained poor. America believed everybody should be rich or richer than them, so that they can exploit all the markets. Right? Yeah. So America is not your typical... America has been the single biggest different superpower compared to all other historical superpowers. I don't think people realize that.
Yeah. Acha, so finally, before we go, let me ask this. Kushal, especially, have you noticed that there's a bit of a trend that if you say something, if you quote a concept, and if you don't necessarily prostrate at the feet of somebody who came up with that concept, or maybe didn't even come up with that concept or mention that concept, that you get a lot of pushback. And this is a beautiful one right here. This is a beautiful one right here. It's like from Vijay Nair. Hey Sham, thanks for not interviewing Dr. Rajat Mitra and stealing his terminology, transgenerational trauma. First of all, that terminology, transgenerational trauma, intergenerational trauma, has been around since the 60s, maybe even before that. It's been around for a while. Secondly, whenever I mentioned it, I remember the first time I mentioned transgenerational trauma of Hindus, I specifically mentioned Dr. Mitra. I heard him saying it in one of his talks. But I find this entire, and I feel like I've seen this on social media a bunch, without necessarily naming any names, but I've seen this on social media.
It only happens with one person and his lackeys the most. Anyways,
yeah.
But this is a problem. I mean, I don't know. You can't do anything. देखो ऐसा होता है, चाय से हमेशा केतली गरम होती है. So maybe the chai is not garam, other than one case. बाकी सब केस में चाय गरम नहीं होती है. मगर ये usually क्या होता है कि वो नया convert हमेशा जोर से चिल्लाता है. The point is like when I do my writing, so I write rarely, but whenever I write, I make it a point that I embed links and references in my article. So I mean, what more are you supposed to do?
Yeah, I mean, if every time you invoke gravity, do you have to take Newton's name? Like when you're just talking about it, एक podcast पर अगर आप बात कर रहे हो, तो कभी-कभी you say words and you don't have the time or you don't have the patience within a flow. हाँ.
मैं कितने अभी मुझे नहीं मालूम वो ओरिजिनल है कि नहीं है, मगर मैं कितने कॉन्सेप्ट्स लाता हूँ और मैं देखता हूँ लोग मेरे ही आइडिया को साइड शो मार के करते हैं. मैं अगर बैठ के उनको बोले तूने मेरे को क्यों नहीं बोला, तूने मेरे को क्यों नहीं एट्रीब्यूट किया, मेरे को क्या करना है, as long as the idea is getting out there and people are benefiting from it. Like I use words like
eventually the thing is, if you हर एक concept में अगर आप जाके उंगली करने लगोगे कि मेरे को क्यों नहीं दिया, people will start people will stop taking you seriously.
Yeah, and you get turned off. See, look, the beauty of a meme is beyond a point, if a meme is powerful, it gets picked up by a lot of people. That's how memes are. So no matter what you do, you always are going to deal with this, this certain section that is, always obsessed with these things. It's okay. I mean, big
Nothing
deal.
you can do. Yeah. So, all right. Well, guys, hopefully this podcast has been relatively educational for you. Hopefully, a lot of this what we talked about makes sense, and I'm looking forward. The signs are good, and over the next 2 or 3 weeks, I'm looking forward to flattening the curve. I'm looking forward to a critical mass of the Indian population getting vaccinated, and we can return to our lives, get outside, and do these kinds of things. Who knows? I see these things a lot. A lot of these podcasters, what they do these like shows with an audience. Have you ever seen that? They organize podcasts and they do it with an audience, and it'll be fun maybe in the future to do one of these together and
No.
with some people. Who knows?
Yeah.
No, I
to,
don't
to
feel very safe with this crowd. They're very homophobic and Ayurphobic.
Don't worry, we'll have good security.
Yes.
So
Besides,
hopefully,
I
Yeah.
don't want to give Kushal an inferiority complex because when he sits with me, it's like black and white.
Of course, but I'm there na. मैं बीच में होना इधर to provide some context and parity. But yeah, hopefully people can get vaccinated. Hopefully people can see each other again very, very soon. And we will try when everybody gets vaccinated, we'll try and do like an in-person podcast. That might be fun to do one of these days. And so, guys, as usual, thanks for watching. Keep an eye out for the podcast. Keep an eye out for the memes that we're going to be posting on social media as well. We will see you next week. And
I just wanted to say, you are all sinners, accept that, and I will absolve you. In nomine Patris, Filii, Spiritus Sancti, absolvote, evil heathen idol worshippers.
Oh, there you go. All our sins are gone, and now we can nicely and happily go to heaven. Thanks very much for that, Abhijit. We'll see you next week to get your sins expelled once more. And until then, stay happy, stay healthy, and see you next time. Ram Ram.
Bye-bye.
Ram Ram.